If you want more than what psychology teaches on this topic, in this video, I'll give you a perspective that is based on truth. Listen, after a tragedy, what you should do from a biblical standpoint, think about this. You are being transformed into who you were created to be. So glean the lesson. In every tragedy, in every circumstance, there's a lesson to be learned. If the trial came from the enemy or if it came from God, your reaction, my reaction is the same. I'm going to go to Jesus and I'm going to say, okay, what is it that I was supposed to learn? What is it that I can learn from this that I can carry forward that can help to build the kingdom? So really, when you look at a tragedy, yes, you experience it, but it's molding you into what you're actually created to be. So with that mindset, you're going to look at it different. You're going to respond differently. You're going to do things in a way that other people are going to be amazed that you responded the way you did, but it's going to be in love and in joy and all those things. I think too often in our culture, we're on this whole psychology kick where everybody's got to be a certain way and you've got to go through this and that and the other. Well, that's just some dudes that came up with these things based on studying the world and how people in the world react. Well, if you're not of the world, you're going to react differently. And that is where the transformation comes. That's where we can help other people transform. When they see you and I going through a tragedy and how we respond, they can be like, wow, that's kind of supernatural how they responded, because they didn't respond like I would have or like the world would have. You see the wisdom here? It's so beautiful. All right, the second point is trust in Jesus, not your feelings. Feelings can be fickle. That's in the Bible. You cannot trust your feelings. They can lead to drama. They can lead to overthinking. They can lead to getting caught in endless loops. And there's all kinds of ways you can get out of those things. You can trust in the world. If you're struggling with feelings, go ahead and see what the world has to say. But I'm going to tell you the only answer is Jesus. Trust in Jesus. Put all your faith and hope and trust in Jesus. Read his words. Be in gratitude to him. Do not trust your feelings. Feelings, Caroline Leaf does something called the 10-second pause where you go think, feel, and then choose your actions. 10 seconds. Your feelings can go in 10 seconds, but you have to get your mind right. You have to reset your mind. And 10-second pause is a way to do that. So if you start off with the default, I'm not going to trust my feelings, I think you're going to be better off than I'm going to trust my feelings no matter what. So just think about that. If you were to err on one side, don't trust your feelings. Go to Jesus, see what the word says about your circumstance or your situation. And I can tell you that that will not lead to, it doesn't say anywhere in the Bible to trust your feelings. Nowhere. So big wisdom that's helped me in my life. Hopefully it'll help you. And now the third point is maybe this tragedy that you went through wasn't for you. Remember I talked about in point number 1 that maybe you have a lesson. Well, maybe the lesson was for someone else that went through the tragedy with you or the circumstance or the trial with you. So they can see, as I kind of mentioned, your character, how you handled yourselves through this tragedy, so they can be inspired. Because, right, who inspires you? Right back to Jesus again. So that's how you want to respond in and after a tragedy. You can't be the victim. Oh, woe is me. That, I believe, is what the enemy wants us to do. Get into the oh, woe is me trap. Where, oh, yeah, so hard. Or the survivor guilt trap. All these psychological terms that are out there. You don't have to do anything for God. You don't have to earn his love and his grace and his all of those things. It's already been given, it's already been done. So why not bask in that? Don't think that because you went through a tragedy that you have to have this mourning period and you've got to do this and that and the other. It's not true. Yes, you can mourn, but it doesn't have to be prescribed like everybody else goes through it. Each of us is unique. Each of us is on a different faith journey. So it's going to look differently. What we can't do is judge by the way the world judges and to try to draw conclusions based on the world and its learning. We have to be much wiser than that. All right, and the fourth point is you will be able to give someone else comfort based on what you went through. How beautiful is that? That's what I love about the Crisis Response International, this group that I joined. They go all over the world, wherever there's a crisis, and they help. And what they found is that when people are in crisis, they're going through a tragedy, that's when they're most apt to turn to God if they're not there already, or turn to prayer or something. So being able to give somebody else comfort based on what you went through is a beautiful thing. You're able to listen to people, let them get their story out. And then if they ask you, you can share your story. You don't volunteer your story, but you can relate to those people. You can have compassion on those people. And that compassion, remember, compassion is really important because it is meeting them where they are, but not leaving them there. It's like, okay, let's go now. That's what Jesus did. He's like, okay, that's good. I see where you are now. We're going to go over here. It's time to go. So this requires some action. To give someone comfort isn't to just sit there and sit in their stuff with them. That does not reinforce anything positive as far as getting them to the point where they are full of joy again, even in their trial, even in their tragedy. Okay? So a lot of this is based on believing too. You've got to believe this stuff, or else you're not going to be genuine when you go through it. And the fifth point is miracles happen in our weakness. So be on the lookout. That's when miracles are going to occur. It's when you're in a tragedy, in your middle of a tragedy, and you're at your weakest, and you're surrendering because you're like, I don't know what to do. That's exactly where God wants you. In our weakness, He is strong. So if we think we're strong, guess what? He's like, go ahead, good luck with that. So be on the lookout when we're facing a tragedy or a trial that we're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I give up, whatever. That's when you look for God, because that's where the miracles come. Because He's a loving God, but all He wants is our surrender. So if we're not surrendering to Him, guess what? We're not making any room for miracles to potentially happen. So you've got to do these things. In my Asheville story through the hurricane, this is held true. Handling that tragedy and growing stronger in the darkness that it brought. And again, looking for the revival in Asheville as a basis for just the beauty that's coming. A revival is coming in Asheville. I can sense it. I can feel it. So subscribe with the notification bell to receive regular updates. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button to see more like this. Comment down below. This can be with questions or answers to a question that you asked. And we'll see you the next time on this amazing journey from isolation to community, where the next step beyond is freedom.